when it comes down to the semiconductors, oh, I hit the wrong one. 487, right? So when it came down from their earnings, they ended up coming from, they had their earnings, revenue jumped 50%. They had their earnings August 5th. Let me see. 518 to 487. I thought they had a significant move. What you got to say about AMD, man? You know this sector a little bit more than anybody else, man, given the fact that it's with the tech, semiconductor, and all those chips and stuff, man.
I'm looking at this chart right now, man, and it's not looking like the best currently. That's just first little range right here. We got the all-time high up here. Man, one more rectangle. And like another range right here. It's like right there, like, man, I don't have anything negative or positive to say necessarily. It's really a waiting game for real. They had good earnings.
They kind of slipped after the earnings. You know, AMD running up since March 26th from 193 to a high of 582. So, you know, this stock's kind of exhausted and ran up strong, very, very strong, you know.
Okay.
That's another key, too, for the people who looking to find good investments. You know, we know that NVIDIA is the top in the semiconductor game, but if they're already been very, if their market cap is already very big and they're already bought up, right, and they don't have as much supply for the demand, they go to the next top company, which is AMD, right? You can use that for any sector, right? So you can use that for, you know, the cybersecurity sector.
It's overall computing, honestly.
Overall computing, memory sector. And even if you're in a different sector, whether it's financial sector, whether it's consumer discretionary, you look at the top company, then you look at the second top company to that, and hey, you get you a good bang for your buck, man.
Yeah, I do want to emphasize on just getting in the markets. Like, there's no way that nobody can really time when a stock is gonna do its percent, right? You can't really, nobody can time the market, but what you can do is indulge in the market. You have to be in the market to even see anything like this, because I could be like, damn, Fisher Go-Getter, you know, AMD is 487, but that doesn't tell you where they came from. That doesn't tell you their last run up. I could be like, AMD is the competitor to NVIDIA, right? And so I got a AMD computer or semiconductor, and I feel like I can say all of these things, but that doesn't describe the way or the reason or any of that with the stock. You got to be in the markets. You have to be at least looking at the markets, because the timing is what's really going to get you paid. Like, if you catching the move while everybody's like first, but that's still, it's timing. At the end of the day, you got to get in and be paying attention to these things, because you will get it will happen, and you'll be like, damn, I ain't even AMD was.
You weren't aware, you know what I'm saying? So time in the market beats timing the market, right? Speaking of AMD, the company's growth is increasingly top heavy as data center segment sales hit a record $6.7 billion, which now accounts for a massive 58% of AMD's total quarterly revenue.
That's crazy.
So that's AMD for you, you know what I'm saying? That was this past week, but now we got SPCX, man, SpaceX to talk about, man. So let's talk about SpaceX a little bit and their numbers, you know, their first earnings as a public company, right? So we got the chart right here. Let's clear all this stuff out. But before we get into the chart, here is the feedback from their earnings. While AI spending dragged down the sentiment, you know, them spending a lot of money on the AI CapEx and spending money on AI, the core rocket and connectivity business showed major operational scaling as SpaceX narrowed its quarterly operating losses to just $143 million, which was down from a staggering $970 million loss in the same period last year. In addition to that, they reported higher than expected AI business spending. NASDAQ 100 futures softened in early A's. That doesn't really matter. But that is SpaceX, man. What you got to say about SpaceX for us, man? You can break this down.
I got you.
Sure.
Coming from where we opened up at, it was 150.
Yeah.
Right? 150. We went all the way up to 230, 226. Came all the way back down to 107, 108. Oh, liar. 104. Yesterday, we hit the high of 126. Yeah, man. SpaceX generational stock right here, man. This we seeing. So we had the earnings yesterday, and then we got on the 6th on Friday, or today's the 5th. So tomorrow, we got the first unlock.
Was that the 6th?
Was it the 6th?
I forgot which day, but the first unlock of the 900 million shares
is soon.
It's very soon.
Yeah. It might be the 12th. I'm tweaking. It might be next week.
SpaceX, on top of Flash talking about this is such a generational company, man. Revenue up 92% year over year. Starlink doubled. AI soared and 100 billion cash post, and they're spending a lot of money on AI capex, which took the investors for a little toll because they're spending so much money on making more money in the future when it comes down to this AI stuff. But hey, man, this is a growing company. We're bringing SpaceX up to say, even though it's low right now, we're not planning to buy right now because of the private shares that are going to be unlocked. This is still a grade A company, a growing company. And we got the financial highlights from the earnings right here. Whenever you want to read them for us.
Risk factors and uncertainties. Forward-looking statements subject to risks and uncertainties as disclosed in the SEC filings. Supply, demand, imbalance in compute market expected to persist, impacting price and deployment. The first one kind of, but the second one, kind of that same thing that you were talking about with the video when there's you had said it with the competitors, but when the supply and demand they're not balanced, right? So you might have more supply than demand. You got a lot of inventory, and the market's it's going down. You got a lot of inventory that's sitting. You're not making any money. The company is not going to be making any money if that would be the case. They're sitting on a lot more than they're selling. No bueno. Capital allocation and financing. StockX raised $85.7 billion from IPO and $25 billion from bond offering. Repaid $20 billion bridge loan. Cool. Capital allocation focused on Starship, Starlink, and AI compute infrastructure. Maintained strong investment grade balance sheet and disciplined capital efficiency. I just wanted to see what.
Now, before you exit out, I just wanted they had this up here. They had the summary. So quarter 2 2026 revenue reached $7.8 billion, right, which was up 92% year over year. So 92% higher in the revenue than last year, with an adjusted EBITDA of $3.5 billion of 191%. We talked about what that meant last week for SoFi. I forgot what it meant exactly, but it takes all the business expenses along with the taxes and subtracts it by a certain number. But it's up 190%, 191%. I gotta figure out what that shit means again. The more you look at something, Captain America, we was on that, man. If you ain't watched that, sounds good. Good movie to watch. Earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, man. We talked about this last week. It is a financial metric used to measure a company's overall operational profitability by removing the non-operating variables and non-cash accounting expenses that management and finance controls. So earnings before the interest, before the taxes, before the depreciation and amortization, before that money gets put out and given everywhere else, this is how much they had coming in, man. $3.5 billion, up 191% from last year. Net loss narrowed to $541 million, an improvement of $467 million from the prior year. Major operational milestones included 78 launches, rapid Starlink subscriber growth, and significant AI infrastructure expansion. From all of this, you can clearly see that SpaceX is a growing company. They're doing better than the last year prior. So when it is time to buy this stock, this is no reason to be afraid. This is a great stock that you need to hold, that your grandkids need to have, and your kids need to have, man. $100 SpaceX, generational, man. It's gonna be $800 at some point.
What? It's gonna be like 4 bands, and then they're gonna do the split.
Amazon, man. So let's talk about their numbers. We talked about their chart a little bit. With this new milestone, Amazon became only the 5th in history to ever hit a $3 trillion market cap. joining the elite club of Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, and Nvidia, right? To my aunties, to my mom, to all the girls in my family and your family, we know you guys is blowing a bag with Amazon. You might as well get her in here and get into a stock share so you can benefit from the company getting the money that they're getting from you. So when they have earnings next time, you can definitely benefit. You know, and if you somebody watching this video and you got the same people you could tell it to, go ahead and put them onto the Amazon stock, because this is something that we consume daily, that we can buy right here on the stock market. That is changing our lives off the rip. You got anything you want to say about Amazon stock?
Buy Amazon stock, man. This morning I had ordered some groceries, man.
There you go.
Amazon Fresh, they dropped off.
Come on,
Plays
man.
a part of my life for sure. I ain't going to the grocery store no more, so Amazon. 271. They're the lowest out of those 5 that you named. On them 7.
Nvidia is the low. I guess they are the lowest as far as market cap, because Nvidia's their price is the lowest, but they've had a split, so their market cap is so they are one of the smallest in the market cap out of those 7. They're a little bit of a lagger, but Amazon is such a staple in this. I think it's the cloud computing. You know, they got those cloud servers. They got the AWS. So when it comes down to AI and the future of AI and what we already have now, Amazon is such a staple beyond Amazon Fresh, Amazon Prime, and all the other avenues that they have.
Yeah, Amazon, the cloud services runs a big part of the internet too. So if cloud services is down, your phone ain't working the best, right? Your Google, your Safari. I don't know if Apple is partnered with Amazon Cloud. I think they have their own cloud, but Amazon Cloud, AWS, that holds a big part. I think it's like a third of the internet's services. It's on there.
You guys got it here, man. Palantir, man.